Okaeri nasai, minasan, and welcome back to another Nihongo video. We are finally on lesson 8, and I'm finally here with another Japanese video for you guys. So, go ahead and grab your Genki book. And of course, as always, if you guys don't have your Genki book, I will be showing you guys the pictures. But if you do have your Genki book, you can find me on page 186. And today's lesson, we will be getting into short forms and informal speech and short forms and quotated speeches. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and read the story. So, number 1, at school, Yui, Takashi-san, 明日みんなでバーベキューをしませんか？Takashi、いいですね。誰が来ますか？ゆい、ソラさんとロバートさんが来ます。メリさんも来ると思います。Takashi、ケンさんは？ゆい says、ケンさんはアルバイトがあると言っていました。Takashi、残念ですね。何か持っていましょうか？ゆい、何もいらないと思います。Number 1. Now, Yui says, Takashi, would you like to have a barbecue party tomorrow? Takashi says, that's nice. Who will come? Yui says, Sora and Robert will come. I think Miri will come too. Takashi says, how about Ken? Yui says, Ken said he had a part-time job. Takashi said, too bad. Shall I bring something? Yui says, I think nothing is needed. Now, for the second story, Robert is cooking at the barbecue. Yui, 上手ですね。ロバートさんは料理するのが好きですか？ Robert says, よく家で作ります。And Yui says, 何か手伝いましょうか？ Robert says, じゃあトマトを切ってください。And then Robert says, 始めましょうか？ Yui says, まだ飲まないでください。メリさんも来ると言っていましたから。Now, and then also Mary says, 遅くなってすみません。Now, everyone, みんな、じゃあ乾杯。Number 2 reads as follows, you are good at cooking. Do you like cooking, Robert? Robert says, yes, I often cook at home. Yui says, shall I help you with something? Robert says, well then, cut the tomatoes, please. Robert says, shall we start? Yui says, oh, don't start yet. Mary said that she would come. And Mary says, I'm sorry for being late. Everyone, well then, cheers. Show you guys this. It's lesson 8. And I'm obviously going to show you guys the English translation now. Hopefully you guys can see that, because I can't see you guys in the camera. Okay. Now, for our new vocabulary words that we will be learning, tango. We have our nouns right here. I'm going to go over the nouns first. After I repeat my nouns, I'm going to show you guys the screen as always. So, we have hare, sunny weather, ame, rain, kumori, cloudy weather, yuki, snow, tenkyoho, weather forecast, kion, temperature. And using a weather term not used for hot things, that would be asui. Nasu, summer. Fuyu, winter. Kesa, this morning. Asate, the day after tomorrow. Maishu, every week. Kongetsu, this month. Raigetsu, next month. Kaishan, office worker. Shigoto, job, work or application. Not application, occupation. Kamara, camera. Karaoke, karaoke. Tokoro, place. Tomato, tomato. Hashi, chopsticks. Party, barbecue, homestay, living with the local family. Ofuro, bath. Spain, nanika, something. I'm gonna show you guys the nouns now. Those are the nouns. All right here, down here. Make sure you guys can see that. Now we're going to be getting into the not adjectives. There's only 3. So we have 上手, and you would use the particle. It's a not adjective. These are not adjectives. And it means skillful or good at. And you follow it with the particle ga. Heta. Clumsy or poor at, follow up with the particle ga. Yumei, and it means famous. Those are the not adjectives right here. Now we have u. Now we have u verbs. So, first one, it means to wash. Arau. Iu, to say. Iru, to need, follow up with the particle ga. Asoku naru, to be late. Ofuro ni hayeru, to take a bath. Omo, to think. Kiru, to cut. Sukuru, to make. Ame ga or yuki ga furu, rain or snow falls. Motteiku, to take a thing. I'm gonna show you guys the u verbs. Make sure you guys can see that. Hopefully you guys can. Now u verbs. Suteru, to throw away. Hajimeru, to begin. Now we have irregular verbs. Unten suru, to drive. Sentaku suru, to do laundry. Souji suru, to clean. Ryori suru, to cook. Now we have adverbs and other expressions. Or yes. No, or Isumo, always. Osoku, late. This is in the context and late in doing something. Cheers, this is for a toast. Not to say cheers in general, it's for a toast. Kanpai, minade. This means all of the people together, everyone. Zennen, that's too bad. Mada plus negative, not yet. Like mada da na. About, and now nisuite, about, concerning. Do means degrees and temperature, and we have do, it means how. I'll show you guys that right there. Perfect. Now, on to some grammar changes you can use basically for informal speech. I'm gonna get into that. Now, short forms. I'm gonna wait till that car passes by. Now, short forms. In the next lesson, we will learn a new paradigm of conjugation, which we will call short forms. Compare the long forms, which we already know, in the short forms. I'm gonna read this chart to you guys. This is the present affirmative. We have verbs, adjectives, adjectives, noun plus de. Verbs. This is the long forms. This is yomimasu, adjective, kawaii desu, adjective, shizuka desu, noun plus desu, gakusei desu. This will be the short form of the verb yomu, short form of the adjective kawaii, short form of the adjective shizuka da, short form of the noun gakusei da. Now, Omi has a rule right here for the verbs. You drop mas and just put the dictionary form, which would be yomu. For an adjective, you drop the des, so it wouldn't be kawaii desu, it would just be kawaii. Now for not adjectives, you replace the des with the da, so it wouldn't be shizuka desu, it would be shizuka da. Now same thing for nouns. Gakusei desu turns into gakusei da. Now for present negative, same thing up here. We have the long form yomimasen, adjective, kawaiiku nai desu. And we have which is an exception because conjugates into yokunai. So we have yokunai desu, adjective, shizuka janai desu, now plus this, gakusei janai desu. Now we have the short forms. We have yomanai. For adjectives, we have kawaiiku nai. An exception for we have yokunai. For adjective, we have shizuka janai. For noun plus this, we have gakusei janai. So for the verbs on the short form, it is yomimasen. So you want to drop mimasen and add manai, yo manai. For adjective, you drop the des, kawaiiku nai desu. It would just be kawaiiku nai. Same, well, it's the same thing for which would be just yokunai, right? So for adjective, you just drop the des. It wouldn't be shizuka janai desu, it would be shizuka janai. For nouns plus this, it's the same thing. Drop the des, 学生じゃないです. It will just be 学生じゃない. Show you guys that. These are very important. This is grammar points. Look at the verbs in the negative in detail. Ru, u, and irregular verbs conjugate differently, correct? Verb short forms. This is the present negative. For ru verbs, drop the final ru and add nai. So an example right here, we have taberu conjugates into tabanai. U verbs, drop the u and add anai. Verbs that have u, however, get wa instead of a. So kaku, kaku, ku, kakunai. Now for au, awanai. The reason why au gets awanai and not kanai is because au ends with u and not ku. So irregular verbs, the vowels change. We have suru. Suru conjugates into shinai. Kuru conjugates into konai. Make sure you guys remember that. In exception, the verb aru is totally replaced by the adjective nai, which would be a complete negative. Make sure you guys can really see that. Now, we have over here, think of the u verb conjugation as moving up and down the hiragana chart. Let's take kaku for an example. The dictionary form kaku is the combination of the verb base and the kanji ka, and the bottom hiragana of that row, ku. Kakimasu is the combination of ka, ki, and the mas ending on the right. Kakanai is ka and nai. Now, I'm gonna read this chart to you guys. First, I'm gonna show you guys this chart, and then I will explain this chart. Make sure you guys can really see that, because that chart is very important into conjugating short forms. So, just like this here. So, we have the kanjis up here, which is ka. We have kaku to write. Hanasu, I'm reading the affirmatives first. Hanasu to write, to speak. Masu to wait. Shine to die. Yomu to read. Sukuru to make. Oyogu to swim. Asobu to play. Karu to buy. These are the affirmatives, right? So I should really show you guys this. So this up here goes to these. That's the affirmative. That would be the dictionary form. That would be the dictionary form, right? So you would use ka and then ku equals dictionary form. That's the dictionary form. Now I'm going to be reading their stem form, which is the basic conjugation form, right? So now we have kaki, I will write. Hanashi, I will speak. Machi, I will wait. Shinimasu. So let me start over, because you use mas when you're ending these off, because remember their basic conjugation, right? So we have kakimasu, I will write. Hanashimasu, I will speak. Machimasu, I will wait. Shinimasu, I will die. Let's not claim that though. Yomimasu, to read. Sukurimasu, I will make. Oyogimasu, I will swim. Asobimasu, I will play. Kaimasu, I will buy. Now for the negative form, which they were saying up here, the combination, the right, kakanai, which would be this up here, right? So make sure you guys can really see this. Ka, and then over there is nai. So it will be kakanai, hanasanai, shinanai, yomanai, sukuranai, oyoganai, asobanai, kawanai. Those are all negatives in the short form tense. Now we have short forms in informal speech. Close friends or family members speak with each other using short forms at the end of sentences as a sign of intimacy, right? The use of long forms, in contrast, tends to imply the speaker's intention to keep a proper distance from the listener. Short forms then are like talking on a first name basis, while long forms are like using Mr. and Mrs. We have an example below. Between friends, right? This is the short form. Kyou, gakkou ni iku. B, ikanai. So, guys, this chart is very important. You remember this chart up here, because it's like you're basically This is a chart to conjugating. This is a chart to conjugating short forms in the negative. Same thing it would be in the positive. You would use the present affirmative on the chart I showed you guys a minute ago. So this to a stranger you would use long form, right? So this would be, excuse me, does this train go to Shinjuku? Sumimasen. この電車は新宿に行きますか? Long form. B. No, it doesn't. いいえ、行きませんよ. Now I'm going to show you guys that. It may not be easy to decide when it is appropriate to switch to short forms. First of all, Japanese speakers are often very conscious of seniority. A year's difference in age may in many cases totally preclude the possibility of establishing a truly equal relationship. Second, license to use short forms is not mutual. Senior partners may feel perfectly justified in using short forms while expecting their junior partners to continue addressing them with long forms. Thus, if somebody who is older, say your Japanese language professor, talks to you using short forms, they would be greatly surprised if you were to do the same. We have a little note down at the bottom. Note that we have kawanai with wa instead of a, because the basis of u verbs ending with the hiragana u actually end with the consonant w, which remains silent in kau and kaimasu, but resurfaces at kawanai. And kawanai, and you know, kau means to buy. That's the dictionary form. Conjugate that now. So, professor, do you know this kanji? Kono kanji wakaru. And then the student would not use the short form, but the long form, because he's talking to his professor, right? So, hai, wakarimasu. Not wakaru. Long form preferred because you are talking to somebody who is older. And in the casual conversations, you drop the question particle ka and use the rising intonation to ask a question. So, we have, what kind of music do you listen to? Donna ongaku o kiku? Not, you do not say Donna ongaku o kiku ka. That doesn't even grammatically make sense. So, also in the spoken language, you usually drop the sentence final da after a na adjective or a noun. You keep the last da in the written language, however. So, A, are you good? Genki? Yes, I am. Genki. Rather than genki da. Now I'm gonna show you guys that. Over here. Now, you keep da when you follow it up with ne or yo. We have an example right here. Mary is a sophomore. Meri-san wa 2年生だよ. Rather than Meri-san wa 2年生だ. So, hi and iet are usually replaced with the less formal and Hey, do you often play sports? Yoku sportsu o suru. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Suru. Shinai. Now remember, shinai means no, I don't. Because, like I showed you guys the chart, suru completely changes. The vowels change. It's an irregular verb. The vowels change. Suru turns into shinai. And remember, kuru, which is also an irregular verb, it goes to konai, which basically means I won't come. So short forms and quoted speech. We have to omoimasu. To describe what you think, you use the short form plus to omoimasu. I think that. Now, to is a quotation particle, which does the job of both the English word that and indirect quotation, and of quotation particles. My bad, guys. Indirect quotation. So I think Takashi likes Mary. So we can say watashi wa, or you don't need to say it. It's in parentheses. It's very optional. So, but I'm gonna say it for you guys' sake. Watashi wa Takashi-san wa Meri-san ga suki da to omoimasu. So I'm gonna read that a little slower. Watashi wa Takashi-san wa Meri-san ga suki da to omoimasu. Now we have, to say that you don't think something is the case. It is more common in Japanese to say like nai to omoimasu. I think that something is not the case. Then と思いません。I don't think. Therefore, 私はメリさんは高橋さんが好きじゃないと思います。I don't think that Mary likes Takashi. Now we have short forms and coded speech again, but it's in the past tense. と言っていました。To quote a person's utterances, you use the short form plus と言っていました。They said, note that the present tense in Yasmin's original utterance is preserved in Mary's report. So we have Yasmin said that there will be an exam tomorrow. Yasmin さんは明日試験がありと言っていました。Professor Yamashita said that he is not married. So we have Yamashita 先生は結婚してないと言っていました。I'm gonna show you guys that after I read this right here. So we have Yasmin saying 明日試験があります。And then we have Mary saying やすみんさんは明日試験があると言っていました。I'm gonna show you guys that the coded speech is over here. My bad. The wind is blowing a little hard. That right there, and now we have coded speeches over here. Alright. Now we're gonna be moving on. Now we're moving on to ないでください。ないでください。To request that someone refrain from doing something, one can use a verbal short form plus でください。Please don't take pictures here. ここで写真を撮らないでください。I'm gonna read that a little slowly. So your verb should be the short form negative, right? So that means it would be 撮らないで. It would be 撮らない. So ここで写真を撮らないでください。So verb short form plus でください. Please don't. ないでください often is better than using 手はいけません to a 手もいですか question. May I enter this room? この部屋に入ってもいいですか Please don't. 入らないでください Compare 入ってはいけません implies that you are in a position of authority. And in this situation, you will not be in a position of authority because you are in casual conversation, right? So, the wind keeps flipping my book. Now, verbs のが好きです。上手です。A verb short form plus の turns a verb into a noun describing an action. Thus, in combination with が好きです、嫌いです for an example, you can describe what you like and dislike doing. I like studying the Japanese language. 私は日本語を勉強するのが好きです。I don't like cleaning my room. 私は部屋を掃除するのが嫌いです。To be good or bad at doing something is が上手です is good at and が下手です is bad at. Now, Robert is good at cooking meals. ロバートさんは料理を作るのが上手です。Now, use no and then is the verb. Verb plus のが. So, Takashi is not a good speaker of English. Takashi さんは英語を話すのが下手です。Now we have this over here. Person は activity verb のが right here. So, we have 好きです、嫌いです、上手です、下手です。So, it is a common mistake to use the tense form of a verb in such context, misled by the association between ている in the verb and the ing form in English. This would be wrong. This is I'm gonna read you guys. Takashi さんは英語を話してが下手です。That would be wrong. Even though it says the same thing, it is grammatically incorrect because it will not make sense for him to say 話して instead of saying the short form version of that. So now we have the subject particle が Consider what ロバートさんは沖縄に行きました means. The sentence means, of course, it is about Robert, right? And describes what he did. it is likely to be uttered when the topic of Robert has already been breached. Grammatically speaking, 1. The noun robato stands as the subject in the relation to the verb iku, to go. He was the person who performed the going. And 2. The noun is, per the function of the particle wa, presented as the topic of the sentence. As for Robert, he went to Okinawa. So, what if we both know that somebody went to Okinawa recently, and I know that it was Robert, but you don't? I will say, Robato-san ga Okinawa ni ikimashita. Robert went to Okinawa. This sentence means that Robert went to Okinawa, which is in English would be uttered with an extra emphasis on the name Robert, which is the new piece of information in this sentence. Question words like dare or and nani and the subject of a sentence are followed by ga rather than wa. I thought I just saw a bird fly over me. So, who went to Okinawa? Dare ga Okinawa ni ikimashita ka? Compare these two, the sentence I just read, to dare wa Okinawa ni ikimashita ka? As we learned in lesson 2, a question word that is the subject of a sentence is never followed by the particle wa, but always be the particle ga. Refer to page 61. As we have seen, a noun that will provide the answer to such a question is followed by the particle ga. Which class is the most interesting? Dono kurasu ga omoshiroi desu ka? Japanese class is Nihongo no kurasu ga omoshiroi desu. And I'm gonna read you guys this right here. Show you guys all of this now. There's this right here. Hopefully you guys can see. Okay. Now we'll be moving on. Hey, who wears glasses in this class? Kono kurasu de dare ga megane o kakete imasu ka? Professor Yamashita does. So we'll be saying Yamashita sensei ga megane kakete imasu. Gonna show you guys that little thing right there. Right there. Yep. Now we have nanika and nanimo. So the word for something is nanika, and the word for anything in negative sentences is nanimo. Some and any, and so positive statements we use nanika, which means something. In questions we use nanika, anything, question mark. In negative statements we use nanimo plus a negative, not anything. So when nanika and nanimo are used in places where the particles wa, ga, and o are expected, they are often used on their own without the help of particles. We will learn in lesson 10 what to do in cases where particles other than these are expected. So the cat has brought something. Neko ga nanika motekimashita. So nanika, something, has brought something. Nanika motekimashita. Did the cat eat anything? Neko wa nanika tabemashita ka? No, the cat did not eat anything. You would say, iie, neko wa nani mo tabemasen deshita. I'm gonna show you guys that. So, in conclusion, I'm gonna turn my time off right quick, guys. Okay. So, in conclusion, we have learned about short form versions. We have learned about short forms, present tense affirmative, present negative, and we have learned about verb short forms, present negative. So, when we first learned about the short forms, we were using verbs, adjectives, not adjectives, and we were using nouns. So, and then on the second one, on the verb short versions, we use uru, and irregular verbs. You guys figure out how to conjugate that. With the negative conjugation chart and the stem, you really want to focus on the negative. You would use this to conjugate kakenai, hanasanai, etc., etc. Make sure you guys practice that chart if you have it in a book. What you want to do is write down or look up a chart online if you have to, or copy the chart from the book and keep studying it. Short forms and informal speech. That's what we learned. Then we learned how the short forms and quotated speech. Short forms and quotated speech with と言っていました that's for utterances and to learn what people think in quotation marks と思います so then we learned the particle ga and we learned how to use no so with that being said that will be the end of the video. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe as always. And for the next video, it will be practice for the short forms. And of course, I'm gonna go back and practice myself for these short forms because of course I read over this and memorized everything before of course I came and recorded for you guys so I can give you guys a better understanding and you guys can understand it more than I can probably, honestly. But of course, we need a thumbnail and I'm tired of doing the same thumbnail. You guys got to give me something to work with. So let's do this. Let me put my shoe on right. I'm gonna edit this part out for you guys except for this though. I'm gonna get. Ja, mata.